Alright, good evening. This is Tom McMasters. Figure I'll talk a little bit while I'm on my drive home out there. Obviously, the video is going to mean nothing to you, but that's beside the fact. What I'm going to talk about today is the aquatic center contract between the YMCA and Huber Heights. It was discussed in the last work session, and it looks like they're going to award it to the YMCA in the next meeting. One of the things, there's a couple of things that caught my attention to this, and as you might know from the write-up over there, it's going to be another no-bid contract, and that gets a lot of attention, so that's why one of the reasons I put it up there. But most of the reasons why I'm going to talk about this today is because the council is again losing the opportunity to demonstrate a good way to actually conduct business within the city. Even if there wasn't a bid out there, it makes good sense for them to go out there and to get other people to make an offer. So one of the points that I want to make in this video for that is that we had gone out last time and got Dayton Pools to submit an offer during the bidding process 5 years ago. With that, council should have, in this debate, gone and compared how that contract would have what the contract would have cost the city compared to what it did cost the city with the contract that they actually had awarded. All right, so we had the opportunity to go ahead and make that comparison, and they've chosen not to. So that's one of the points that I will talk to, or at least have in my head. And the other thing that caught my attention during this past meeting was that the city manager talked about all the work that the city has done on the aquatic center over the past year and a half that doesn't appear to be tracked within the operational budget, so that when they talk about the city spending $11,000 to from general fund to maintain the aquatic center, they're not talking about all the extra money that they've put in by the city performing maintenance itself. So there's a couple things about that particular item that I like to talk about, because generally when I look at the aquatic center and I compared it to the old pool that was on Fishburg, I've always said that the city was doing a really good job and providing a nice service for its residents with the aquatic center compared to the pool. And if you just look at the difference between what those amenities were, then you would know. And then add on to that the city was spending probably about $20,000 a year in additional funds to maintain that pool because it was in bad shape, so it had a lot of leaks and that, and then they didn't charge very much to get in. So as residents, it was costing you about $20,000 in general fund money to maintain that pool, whereas when you talk in the aquatic center, yes, it cost $11,000 or so this past year, but that's less than what it was costing to have the old pool, and you certainly have a much nicer facility for residents to go. Now, the cost to get into the aquatic center compared to the cost to get in the pool, you take that into consideration. Some people may not think it's a great value, but in general, for a taxpayer that wouldn't use either of those things, it seems to me that it was better to have the aquatic center and such. But now we've got into the situation where the city is providing a lot of the maintenance for the aquatic center, and they're not going out and they're not charging it and they're not showing it on the books. So you're not doing an apples to apples comparison again. So if they've spent $20,000 in man hours or $20,000 in equipment, actually equipment probably would get tracked one way or another. It might be hard to find, but if they went out and bought paint, somewhere that paint should be shown in the city budget as a pool expense. But if they put man hours in there and they have $20,000 in man hours, then it may not be very easy to find right there. So you don't know how the comparison goes anymore. So I was kind of disappointed that your council members did not tell the city manager that it was required that as part of the evaluation of the aquatic center, he has to do a better job of reporting the cash that's being spent on some of these other things outside of the YMCA and the bills that they're submitting. So that's one of the things that I talk about. The other things that I talk about is process and why you go through a bidding process, or at least you ask other companies to tell you how much it would cost to run the facilities. All right. So last time, one of the trepidations I have with that system right there is last time I was able to get Dayton Pool to offer a bid, and unfortunately our city manager was kind of upset that he had to evaluate two different bids, and where we had a pretty good relationship with Dayton Pool, it degenerated after that, and so we've lost some of the services that company provided simply because they chose to participate in offering a bid. But the main point that I want to talk about is council and their loss of an opportunity to be able to judge whether they're making good decisions or not. So 5 years ago, we had Dayton Pool put out a proposal, and we had the YMCA put out a proposal with that. Well, the Dayton Pool proposal was a firm fixed price, so you know how much they were going to charge you each year for the services that they were going to provide. You didn't know how much the YMCA was going to provide, because just the way that they did it is if they used more chlorine, then they would charge you for more chlorine. Whereas the Dayton Pool, they told you up front what it was going to charge you. So because we picked the YMCA, you can go back there and you can compare what it would have cost to have Dayton Pool compared to what it actually did cost for the YMCA. You didn't have a single member of council go to your city manager and say, hey, how do those compare? Did we do better by picking the YMCA than we would have for Dayton Pool or not? That just seems to be kind of a foul as far as I'm concerned, if they're not going to go back there and do that comparison. And again, they have chosen to do a no bid contract to the YMCA this time, so you don't know 5 years from now, when they go ahead and do a recompete, how the city is doing compared to what it would have done, what the other providers could have provided in that term. So I again call foul with the way the council has decided that it's going to proceed in awarding the contracts. So I guess that generally sums up where I was going with this video, and thank you for your attention, and ask for more from your council members. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.